This video is about if you're given an element, how do you count the protons, neutrons, and electrons of an atom of that element? If you take out your periodic table, you'll see a whole bunch of symbols on the periodic table, and these symbols are letters. There's, for example, the first element on the periodic table is H for hydrogen. The next letter is He for helium, and if you'll notice that this is one type of element, and each type of element, they always begin with a capital letter, and if they have a symbol that has a second letter that's associated with a symbol, it's always a lowercase letter. So, for example, the difference between CO and CO is that this is carbon, this is an element because it's a capital letter. This is another capital letter, it's oxygen. So this is actually a compound, carbon monoxide. There's two elements there. Whereas C with a lowercase letter O, that's actually one element, and that's cobalt. And on your periodic table, you can find it as number 27. So that's one element, and big C, big O is two elements, carbon and oxygen. So it's really important when you're writing symbols that you write, if you're writing a symbol for just one type of element, that you have either one uppercase letter or you have one uppercase letter and the second letter be a lowercase letter. All right, symbols, when writing a symbol for an element, you always place the symbol here, and then you place the mass number in the upper left-hand corner and the atomic number in the lower left-hand corner. The mass number is the mass of the atom in terms of atomic mass units. And so, for example, so the mass of an atom, as you know, is just the mass of the total number of protons and neutrons together, since the electron has very, very little mass compared to protons and neutrons. So, for example, if we look at the periodic table, let's look at the element lithium again. If you take a look at lithium, the symbol for lithium is Li, and to write a complete symbol with mass number and atomic number, the mass number always goes in the upper left-hand corner. The mass here, it says it's 6.941. I'm going to round that to the nearest whole number, so I'm going to have the mass number be 7, and we're going to talk in the future of why that number is a decimal and why it's not 7 on the periodic table. But for now, just round it to the nearest whole number. And then the atomic number is the lower number. It's only stating the number of protons, and in this case, the number for lithium for the atomic number is 3. So this would be the official symbol for lithium with its Li, 7 is the mass number, and 3 is the atomic number. So if you're given the symbol for fluorine here, and I ask you what is the number of protons, electrons, and neutrons, first of all, you should know that, okay, the smaller number, this 9, that always shows me the identity of fluorine, and it always has 9 protons. So you know that fluorine would have 9 protons. If it's a neutral atom, which all of these questions that I'm going to give you in the next couple of slides, they're all neutral atoms, so they're always going to have the same number of electrons as protons, so 9 electrons and 9 protons. Now, how do you calculate the number of neutrons? Well, if this 19, this is the mass number, there's a total number of 19 protons and neutrons. You say, okay, total number of protons and neutrons is 19. Well, I know that my number of protons is 9, so if I add that to my number of neutrons, and I know that's going to equal 19, what is the number of neutrons will have to be? Well, the number that obviously goes in here for the number of neutrons has to be 10, right? 9 plus 10 equals 19. So doing quick math calculation can figure out that you have 10 neutrons in this fluorine atom. Okay, what's the atomic number? If I ask you what's the atomic number, the atomic number is the same as the number of protons, and so that's 9. The atomic number is the number of protons. And what is the mass number? That's the total number of protons and neutrons combined, and that is 19. Okay, try to figure out this one. Here's the symbol for bromine. It says find the number of protons, the number of neutrons, electrons, atomic number, and mass number. Right now, pause the video and try to solve this problem. The answer is that the number of protons is 35, the smaller number. The number of electrons, also 35. It's a neutral atom, same number of protons and electron. And the atomic number, 35. Atomic number is the same as the number of protons. The larger number, 80, is the mass number. And the mass number tells you the number of protons and neutrons. So if we have 80 protons and neutrons, and we know that we have 35 protons, and we subtract these protons from the protons and neutrons, it will give us 45 neutrons. So we know that the number of neutrons is 45. Okay, for this one, look at your periodic table and try to make a symbol with the atomic number and mass number rounded to the nearest whole number for a sodium atom. So I want you to make a symbol and then also find out the number of protons, neutrons, electrons, atomic number, and mass number. Okay, pause the video now and then start it up when you have the correct answer. Okay, so the correct symbol for sodium is this. Na with 11 on the bottom, 23 on the top. The 23 was rounded from 22.99 to 23. 23 is the mass number. 11 is the atomic number. 11 tells us the number of protons, and for a neutral atom of sodium, it tells us the number of electrons as well. The number of neutrons, you take the mass number and you subtract the atomic number from the mass number, and it'll tell you the number of neutrons, which is 12. Okay, this one should be easy. It gives you the complete symbol, and just find the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Pause the video and start it back up when you're ready. Your answer should have been 23 protons, 24 neutrons, and 23 electrons. Solve this problem and start the video back up when you found the answer. Answers. This one's a little trickier. It gives you the protons and it gives you the number of neutrons. And so remember, those are the heavy subatomic particles in the atom. The atomic number is always the number of protons, so that's 60. The mass number is the protons and neutrons added together, so 60 plus 84 will give you 144. And then the number of electrons is the same as the number of protons for a neutral atom, so that's 60. And then to find the complete symbol, you need to look at the periodic table and say, okay, what has an atomic number of 60? Remember, the atomic number is the number of protons, and for a specific element, you can always find it by the number of protons or the atomic number. Number 60 is neodymium. It's Nd for its symbol, and its atomic number is 60 and mass number is 144. You are on the second last practice problem. Try this one. Start up the video when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so if it has 78 electrons and it's a neutral atom, it has to have 78 protons. So the number of protons is 78. The atomic number, thus, is also 78. The mass number is the number of neutrons plus the number of protons. So if you add that up, it comes out to 195. That's the mass number. And then the symbol is down below. You'll find out that it is platinum. This is the last problem. I want you to find the atomic number, mass number, number of protons, number of neutrons, and number of electrons for calcium, argon, and bromine. I give you down below on this slide the three different squares. By the way, protons, the symbol for protons is P with a plus sign because that is a plus charge. Neutrons is N with a 0 sign since it has a neutral charge, and electrons is E with a negative sign since each electron has a -1 charge. All right, we'll do the first one, first row together. Calcium, the atomic number is 20. It's always the smaller of the two numbers. The mass number is always the larger of the two numbers. We'll round it to the nearest whole number, 40. The number of protons, 20. Number of neutrons is the mass number minus the atomic number, so it's 20. And number of electrons is the same as the number of protons in a neutral atom, so that's 20. Try the other two rows on your own right now and then start up the video when you're ready for the answers. I hope you got your answers right, and I hope you learned a lot about what's in the atom and how to find out the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in a particular atom or element using the periodic table.